More and more people keep asking me if autonomous vehicles are not operating under the same laws as vehicles like that you and I drive, and I tell them that they're not insured properly and they're actually not supposed to legally be on the street. This is a very technical point. It usually involves governors, but sometimes mayors as well. But often mayors and governors don't see eye to eye on this, on whether autonomous should be in their cities. But usually there's a heavy amount of money paid. But we finally have a report, and I've been working on this for a while. I first want to give a shout out to Christopher Taylor, who helped provide the last couple missing pieces. Here we go. It's going to be when Waymos, we're going to pick on Waymo, when Waymos are in an accident or cause an accident, can they be ticketed? They should be able to. The law says they need to, and we're going to focus on Arizona today. Welcome to 13. So, after several close calls involving driverless Waymos in Arizona, how often are autonomous vehicles at fault? Right? Can they be issued traffic tickets if they're at fault? So between 2021 and 2024, there were 202 crashes in Phoenix involving autonomous cars. That will sound like a very small number, but there's another statistic we're going to get to as well that plays a much bigger number. But even that is a big one. That's still because of the amount of Waymos. It's not like there's equal parts Waymos and people driving cars. There's only a certain amount of Waymos out on the road. So incidents ranged from minor scrapes, 31 injuries, causing in collisions, causing people to go to the hospitals. Reports are heavily redacted. This is huge, making it difficult to determine fault. And why are they being redacted? Again, guys, let's focus on what's really going on here. Arizona, along with some of these other cities about to do it, are getting major amounts of money pumped into their city to allow these death traps, which do not work. Again, do not work. The efficiency level they work at when you put all of the parts together would be what a grade in school of a C or a C- or lower would be. That is not something we should be human testing around. There was an independent review done by Arizona's family. That's Arizona, I think it's fm.com or something. But I'll put the link to that article. I might put a couple others that I've been researching in there too, but this one article is going to hit you hard in the show notes here, or in the video notes. So here's what they found in Phoenix, Scottsdale, Chandler, Mesa, and Tempe. Okay, which is kind of big. Mesa's a little down south, but that's basically the Phoenix area. Approximately 1 out of 5 crashes are involving autonomous. 1 out of 5 are the fault of autonomous. That again might sound like a good stat, right? Okay. There's a case of a person in October of 2024. A Waymo crossed the double yellow line and struck the person's car. Waymo scraped driver's side, stopped a short distance ahead in the wrong lane. The driver described the incident as scary and reckless. He has multiple times said that this wouldn't have happened with a human driver, and we can already see that because a human driver after an accident wouldn't have gone and parked in oncoming traffic. It would have pulled over like we all do, and it just shows that even the protocols aren't in the system. So, Waymo's safety claims. Waymo's launched its ride-hailing service in Arizona in 2020 during the pandemic in partnership with Swiss Renaissance, and Waymo's data shows 81% fewer injury, 88% fewer property damage. Waymo's perspective, collisions happen, but the company is prepared and committed to software-based improvements. What they didn't mention is they don't have to live under the same restrictions of insurance as we drivers do. because they've paid off the governors or other people, whoever's involved, major amounts of money to limit the most they could be taken for. But there's a bigger problem. So, let's see, where are we here? Okay. Uncounted incidents. And I'm going to move into a different piece of information here until uncounted incidents. Missing from official counts, cases where Waymo vehicles confused or startled other drivers into crashing into each other, have all been redacted. There's not one out there that says this Waymo caused it, parked in the middle of an intersection and two cars went around it and hit each other. They'll just say the two cars ran into each other, deal with the insurance. They don't mention that a Waymo, if this happened with three people and no autonomous car, that third person would be involved and probably at fault to both the other people. My point being, okay, so none of those are even being tracked. They don't even account for those. Can Waymo be ticketed? And this is huge. So 2021, there was a person at a stoplight, dead stopped in Chandler, and a Waymo going 30 miles an hour, did not slow down, rear-ended him, pushed him into the intersection. No ticket was issued because, and this blows my mind, here is the quote, no ticket issued because the Waymo was in autonomous mode with no person inside. I've been telling you guys this. Who do you ticket? So, because when the cops showed up, they plowed somebody in, they totaled the car, the other person's car totaled, pushed him into an intersection, minor injuries, and no ticket was issued. Not even a ticket. And there's a cap on how much you can sue these companies for because they've paid off your states to be there. So no ticket issued. If I rear-ended somebody at 30 miles an hour, I'm going to get a reckless driving ticket. June 2024, Waymo entered oncoming traffic near a construction zone in Phoenix. Police pulled the vehicle over, spoke with Waymo support. No citation issued. Every one of us, that's not even one of those cases where the police officer might let you off. You're getting a huge ticket. Huge. I mean, it's basic. So far, I hope you're hearing the theme. They're allowed to operate illegally, cap on how much you can sue them for, and even the police and everybody else involved knows they don't work. Not to the point they should be in public. So Arizona law requires AV permits applicants to acknowledge they may be issued a traffic citation. That's a cool thing to hear, though, right? The reality is none of the 71 police reports that were investigated here, even where Waymo was at fault, not one of them, there has not been one ticket issued to Waymo in Arizona. Not one. Waymo's approach to crash accountability: Waymo adjusts behavior by updating software after an incident. Well, that's nice to know. So if it hits a lamp and kills 15 people and plows through a house, they just change the software to no longer drive through houses. Nice to know. Concerns. Obviously, there's a bunch. Victims, like in Casper, feel software fixes are not enough, clearly. They are not ready yet. And this is the common thing. I say it, but everybody else that has to live in these cities says it. They are not ready yet. I feel dangerous every time I'm in the vicinity of one. That is the common thing to be said. What to do if you collide with a Waymo? Now, in Arizona, you can't leave an incident. Here in Colorado, you can't call a cop out to an incident unless somebody's hurt. You just trade information and you're supposed to leave immediately. You're not supposed to call 911 unless somebody's hurt. Accidents, you just trade information and you're supposed to leave. In fact, cops will come and go, "What are you doing? Trade your information and get out of here." They do not do it. But in Arizona, it's a law prior to this that you have to stay and you have to do this. So it's a crime to leave the scene of an accident. So if you are involved in an accident with a Waymo, guess what? There's no driver. You can't leave the scene. The Waymo has to park there, and you have to wait for a Waymo tech support team to come out. There are incidents that say that can take up to 11 to 13 hours. So if I'm driving the speed limit on the highway and a Waymo rear ends me, I have to pull to the side, and we've all been in accidents or had little things happen, or most of us. And I have to pull to the side and wait potentially 11 to 13 hours sitting in my car, or else I'm breaking the law. You guys, the key takeaways, crash stats, 202 Waymos involved in crashes in Arizona. Over the 2-year period, 31 crashes caused injuries that resulted in hospital visits. Police found Waymo not at fault in 80% of the cases. 4 out of 5, it's not their fault. 1 out of 5, it is their fault, but not one single ticket has been written. So it's even acknowledged that out of every one of these that happens, they're not writing any tickets. Shame on you, Arizona, too. Just like what we do, we got problems here in Colorado, but shame on you, Arizona, whoever is doing these laws and allowing these payoffs. Arizona does allow EVs to be cited tickets. However, not one has ever been written. How is that possible? We're being even told the stats and the statistics. They've been at fault, and then they've been at fault where their car wasn't touched, but 2 other people had to swing around it and hit each other or hit a tree or hit a pole, and Waymo's still not at fault where we would be. So in every incident, here's my advice. If you're in Arizona and you see a Waymo, don't try and go around it. Don't try and speed. Back up, pull off, let a minute go by, let it get way past you, then start again. You don't even want to be within a football field of a Waymo, since clearly they have no accountability and human life matters nothing to them. And the cities that are allowing these, that are taking big suitcases of money, shame on you. That is not what people elected you for. That's 13 minutes of gig news in just under 13 minutes. Peace, y'all.